Well, I've been speaking with the national chairman of the Allied People's Movement, APM, who is also the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. If you'd like to catch this conversation again, please go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm. But for now, we'd like to switch the conversation and extend it to some other aspect of governance, this time education. The concerns around education are even greater now, and the reason is, as we go into another election cycle, there are several tools that politicians could use to score points, one of which is to appeal to labor unions to ease up or give them whatever they can to make them slow down so the elections can come and go, and then subsequently the fight begins again. Now, one thing we do know is the strikes are a major concern in Nigeria, and one union that is infamous for strikes is the Academic Staff Union of Universities. While they insist that they are dealing with it as it should, because they are insisting that schools should function, academic staff should be properly paid and trained, and the necessary infrastructure should be put in place. Question is, over time, these agreements have been renegotiated, but it doesn't seem as though there's any progress. Let's speak with the national president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Mr. Christopher Piuna. He joins us from Jos virtually. Welcome, Mr. Piuna. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you.
As always, it's interesting every time I talk to you that it almost suggests that there's crisis rocking. We don't want that, but I must ask you, it's over a year now since you became president of ASUU. What has it felt like being in the saddle for just about over a year now?
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the interview. I'm a little worried about the use of the word infamous to describe ASUU. We've never embarked on any action that was meant to hurt the system, that was meant to disrupt the progress of the country. On the contrary, each time we embark on an action, we mobilize Nigerians, we let the press know, we speak with everybody and highlight, what the challenges are and the action that we may end up taking. And so, if you say ASUU is infamous for going on strike, that may be a little unfair.
It may not sound fair, but I mean, the students would almost regard ASUU in that light. But let's not dwell on that. Let's not dwell on that. I'm really curious, because my question to you on 1 year in office is so you can compare what you felt as a member of ASUU with what you are feeling now as the president of ASUU, considering 1 year in office and, administration after administration. You've been with the Tinubu administration for a year. As far as negotiations and fulfilling the demands of ASUU goes, where do you stand?
Well, I've been told by a lot of my colleagues that I look older now. Some have said I've lost some weight. But for me, the last 1 year has been one of a lot of experience, learning, solidarity. I've seen a lot of solidarity among our members on the issues that concern our universities and the country at large. I have also experienced unnecessary bureaucratic delays sometimes from the government end, but in all of it, it's been worthwhile. In the last 1 year, we've been able to get government to sit with us and complete the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, which culminated last December with the 2025 agreement that was signed. That is a great milestone. And like you said, regarding strikes, well, like you said, regarding strikes, in the last 1 year, also had a fairly stable calendar. We have engaged government, we've engaged the press, engaged students, and I believe parents through public engagement. And so the last 1 year has been quite eventful for us. We are at the stage of implementing the 2025 agreement, which I believe you have issues or questions to ask about. But the last 1 year has been quite eventful to a
Absolutely.
large extent.
I do. It's good that you speak so positively because we're hearing reports regarding the unpaid allowances, and we're wondering why that is still coming up. And perhaps you could give some clarification on the federal government's eligibility clause for those unpaid allowances. There are some concerns around that, I believe.
When we signed the agreement in December, the point was that government was going to implement the agreement. We
Without
did
a
not
clause.
anticipate at the time that they were going to throw it at vice chancellors to seek for funds to implement the monetary aspect of the agreement. And so when government said they were going to commence implementation from 1st of January, we're all happy. Unfortunately, they threw it at the vice chancellors. And we want to appreciate most of our vice chancellors, if not all our vice chancellors, who did not hesitate to do the best they could at the time to ensure that the agreement was implemented. Unfortunately, they had limitations. They couldn't implement the agreement in full because federal government in particular, had not given them the needed funds to implement it. So we had that challenge. At the state level, visitors of state universities were quite slow. They are still slow. Some of them are showing lack of interest completely in implementing the 2025 agreement as it relates to state universities. It's one of the issues that we have, which we are bringing to the Implementation Monitoring Committee and the attention of state governors who are visitors to our state universities, because that is the major challenge that we have right now. And unless that is addressed, you are likely going to see more disruptions in the system, unfortunately. But we are, first of all, going to engage the government, state and federal, because there are still some federal universities that have not received the recently released funds to capture the eligibility that you talked about. Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi is one. Federal University of Agriculture, Zuru in Kebbi State is another. So
Well, what's the federal government's explanation for the delay?
Well, to be honest, the federal government has released money to all the institutions to address these problems.
Okay.
The Minister of Education told us that. He assured us, he gave us his word, and we agree with him. We agree with him that money has been released to all federal universities to address these problems. Why these universities have still not received theirs is one that we're trying to follow up to know what are the challenges. But at the Federal Ministry of Education's level, they have released the funds to all universities. And there is no vice chancellor today in Nigeria that should say he does not have enough to pay either the arrears or continue with the payments of the agreement. That is the position.
Are you satisfied with the pace of the implementation committee?
No. We're not satisfied with the pace at all. We're not satisfied with the pace. You can imagine, Terry, that this agreement that they said will be implemented from the 1st of January, it is in June that they are releasing the money to take care of all these monetary aspects of the agreement, which is a far cry from what we expected or what we agreed with government. Again, there are aspects of the agreement that we don't even know what is happening. The National Research Council, for instance, which we agreed will be established as part of efforts to, to kickstart, to reinvigorate research in the country, in all the research institutions and our universities. That till date, we do not know where government stands
Well, is that
on
bill
that
not
matter.
is that bill not stalling in the National Assembly?
No, no. In fact, that is where the problem is. The government has taken a different document from our agreement to the
National Assembly?
Federal Executive Council, and it's being pushed as a bill. And we're wondering, why did that happen? How did it happen? Why are they not taking the agreement that we signed with them to the Federal Executive Council and the National Assembly? Those questions are still unanswered, and we believe that in the next few days, we'll get clarity on what government
But
is
what
doing.
is the difference?
On the issue of autonomy,
Okay.
of our universities, we are also not very satisfied with the efforts that government has taken so far. One example that we have cited is that our universities have the power through their Senate to award honorary degrees to individuals. If that process is not working, we have to go back to that body, the Senate of our universities and councils, to ensure that it works. That is the position of ASUU. We do not accept that the Minister of Education, no matter how well-intentioned his motives are in addressing the issue of abuse of honorary doctorate degrees, will take the responsibility of giving honorary degrees or setting up guidelines on how it will be done, for universities and our Senate. That is a violation of our autonomy. And these are the issues that are still coming as we try to implement the 2025 agreement.
There are quite a lot of issues, but I want to ask you, based on the rumors we're hearing, is there an impending strike?
No. There is no strike that is pending as far as our union is concerned.
Well, what is the level of...
Like I said, wait, hold on. Let me explain that very well.
All right.
There is no strike that is impending as far as our union is concerned. However, we have serious problems with state universities, and they are implementing the 2009 agreement. And we do not act in our union as a state or a federal university. Once there is a problem with any of our member branches, we will take an action as a union.
That affects all.
To address the issue.
So you say if you have a problem with, say, or your state now, you take it out on the entire country?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if we have a problem in Lautech,
yes,
Dadoke Akintola University in Oyo State, we are likely going to take an action. The nature of that action is yet to be determined, but the union reserves the right to take action as it concerns any of our branches across the country. That's the point that I'm making. And I need to make this additional point when it comes to state universities. Recently, the federal government has released, through our struggle, ASUU struggle, they have released 50 billion naira revitalization fund to all universities, including state universities. Just Friday last week, we finished a meeting with the federal government, where about 100 billion naira additional to the 50 billion naira will be released to all our universities. State universities came, some of them got from 300 million to 1 point something billion naira. The states are receiving that money. They are not complaining. They are very eager to get the money. They send their vice chancellors with principal officers to come and defend their projects so that they will get that money. But when it comes to the benefit to our members who have gone on strike, who have been denied privileges as a result of the strike, don't forget, 3.5 months of our salary is still outstanding as a result of a previous strike action. The state governments are always eager to receive and benefit from our struggles in terms of building their institutions.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the welfare of our members, they draw back.
Is this
and
a
are
case?
always unwilling.
Is this a case of universities picking and choosing which allowances to pay?
Exactly. Simple and short.
Now, who do you blame for that?
State governments, visitors to state universities. There is nothing that will happen in any university in the state that the governor will not approve. He is happy to pass through the universities and see buildings with TED fund written on it, with needs assessment written on it, all as a result of the strike that we have been vilified for. But when it comes to benefits, they turn the other way. And so we're going to turn their faces back to our own welfare issues. And in turning their faces back to our other issues, we have a lot of tools that can draw that attention.
Okay.
The press is one.
All right.
Strike action is another. Protest is another.
All right.
Press conferences, they are all sorts that we will use, and they are all on the table.
Before we return to the issue with the federal government, the agreement with the federal government, I want us to stay with the state governments for a bit, because what you've said also raises questions around the level of working relationship between the state government and the heads of universities. But then ASUU is in the picture and has concerns. What's the level of access you have with state governments to discuss these issues?
When we concluded the agreement in 2025,
Yes.
Alhaji Ayale Ahmed, chairman of the committee, agreed with us that we should write state governors to inform them about the agreement. They have members, by the way, in our agreement, in the negotiation, members of state universities, chancellors, vice chancellors, they were all represented in the agreement. But when we finished, we agreed that we will write them to say, gentlemen, we have reached an agreement. This is the agreement. So ASUU, on our own, we wrote through our branch chairpersons, our vice chancellors, and to the visitors, and gave them that agreement. We also asked, because of what we agreed with Alhaji Ayale Ahmed, that the National Universities Commission, NUC, should write on behalf of the federal government, bringing the attention of visitors of state universities to the agreement. That has also been done. But like you know, in Nigeria, it is easier to see and speak to God than to speak to our leaders. So a vice chancellor can sit for 5 years and is unable to access a visitor to his university. Unions cannot even contemplate going to meet with a state governor who is the visitor to their university, unless there is a strike. And when there is a strike at the state level, they send the commissioner for higher education, they send permanent secretary this, they send the commissioner that. So the problem with Nigerian leaders, especially at the state level, is that they are gods. And so seeing them is impossible.
What states? I'm curious to know what states have a problem with implementing this salary structure.
Let me tell you this.
Yes.
Bauchi state government has implemented in full.
Bauchi
state government.
Okay.
They have implemented in full our agreement with the federal government. So credit to Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi state. Governor Oyebamiji, is that his name? Of Ekiti State. He has implemented in full our agreement with the federal government in his state university. So kudos to Governor Oyebamiji of Ekiti State. Outside these two states, there is no state that has implemented our agreement.
That is
So out
outrageous.
of
So
that,
how many of these states, that's almost over 98% or 99% of the states. How many of these states have you had engagements with beyond that agreement?
Terry, I'm just telling you that we've written to them. We've written to them. They don't see us. We don't matter. We don't count in this country, even as intellectuals. Nobody regards us. You will write 100 letters to a governor. He will not listen. He will not. There is no governor that is willing to meet with our union.
Yeah, well, what kind of feedback do you get from the heads of universities in these states?
Well, let me tell you something. You know that the state universities, especially the administration of state universities, they even think we have more leverage in accessing their visitors than they themselves, especially when it concerns the general welfare and development of our universities. Maybe they have some personal partisan relationship with their governors and they can access them at any time. We don't know about that. But when it comes to development of our universities, in fact, most vice chancellors believe that ASUU could make it possible more than they getting to see their visitors. It's an upside down country that we have. I was just listening to the last interview that you had before this one about Nigerian leaders, politics, and all of that. And I think the speaker said we need an independent judiciary, we need an independent INEC, we need parties and all of that. What we need in this country is independence from all of them. How we are going to achieve that, we will get to know very soon.
Yeah, maybe,
but what Nigeria needs today
yes,
is independence from all these people that are saying, no, they are in the opposition, or they are in this party, they are in that party, or they are judges, they are members of the National Assembly, they are committee chairmen in the constitutional review. It is independence from them that we're looking for right
it's
now.
time for ASUU to get a little more partisan by maybe engaging with political actors and candidates and then picking out the one with the best ideas to improve the education system, don't you think?
Well, our union as ASUU, we are non-partisan. We state that we're a non-partisan labor union. But at any time we feel the leaders of our country, the political class, will need to listen to us, we try to invite them. In 2024, we organized a State of the Nation conference in Abuja. We invited all the political party leaders in this country, all of them. We invited ministers of government. We invited members of the National Assembly, the Speaker, the President of Senate. We invited all of them. None of them showed up. None of them showed up. They are in Abuja where they are. And what were we discussing? We're discussing insecurity in this country. We're discussing funding of education in this country. We're discussing the role of citizens, private citizens, in moving this country forward. None of them showed up. Nobody from the Ministry of Education attended our State of the Nation conference. Invitation was sent to them. No representation was sent. Nobody from the National Assembly came. Nobody from the executive showed up. Nobody from the political parties showed up. So what are we supposed to do?
So that leads me to ask you, what the new Minister of Education, what's the level of relationship you have, ASUU has, with the minister?
That's a tricky question. Dr. Tunji Alausa is a gentleman that likes to get things done. He's very impatient in getting things done. I grant that to him. He tries to listen when you raise an issue. He is accessible when you try to reach him. That is the positive sides that I know about Dr. Tunji Alausa. But my problem, and I believe our problem as a union with the minister and the ministry, is translating things that we have agreed to reality. Look at this agreement. Before Christmas, or no, after Christmas, around 27th or 28th, he made sure Salaries and Wages Commission wrote a circular acknowledging our agreement that was signed a week earlier, stating that it will be implemented from the 1st of January. Till date, we're still struggling with implementing the agreement. So as a person, I have regards for him. I have acknowledged what I think about him, but as an institution, they are slow in responding. I said this last week in an interview. Hold on. I said this in an interview last week. The point is that once you agree on something, you should try as much as you can to implement those things that you have agreed to. We don't see that in the ministry. And take the implementation of the agreement. From January until we threaten strike or something like that, then the committee was immediately inaugurated. Why did they delay in doing that? We also had told them that we have issues with this research council. They have gone ahead to announce another research council, or whatever name they call it. Fine. Let us know how that one is working. Can we make contributions to it? What do you do with our own agreement that you have signed on this matter? Nothing. Unless we again threaten that we are going to take an action. And this is another problem with our leaders. Nobody in government has ever called us to say we are about to do this thing. Can we here have your opinion? If we give you advice and you don't take the advice, that's okay. But at least show regards people who are making contributions to make this country better. You keep saying that the university is the bastion of hope and the research, knowledge, and whatever, that the country cannot grow without education, without research, and yet you are not talking to your intellectuals. Is that how it happens in countries that they visit?
Prof, let me ask you.
Is that what happens in China? Is that what happens in US? Is that what happens? All the countries of the world. Is that what happens?
No, Prof, we're almost out of time, but I want to get your quick take, or retake, if I may, on the Coventry University that you oppose. Have you had a rethink? Because the criticism out there
no, we haven't.
The criticism out there is that why do you not want a UK university set up here when there are concerns around Nigerians traveling abroad for study? Wouldn't we have an improved system? What are your concerns, and why haven't you had a rethink?
See, all we are saying, like, knowledge is international, it's global. We can't run away from interacting with Coventry University or Harvard or London University of Tropical Medicine or whatever, Germany. We can't run away. We can't run away from interacting with the university in Benin Republic. We can't. But what we're saying is that if you have a system that is failing, rather than invest your time, money, and energy in bringing something from outside, why can't you improve your own institutions? You signed an agreement in December. You have not implemented the agreement. The agreement is supposed to improve your own universities. You have gone to bring another university from outside the country. Does it make sense? Your house is leaking. Your house is leaking. Your house has cracks on the wall. Rather than fix the leak and the cracks, you're asking others to go to your neighbor's house to take shelter there.
Prof,
when you even have the capacity to fix your own house.
We're out of time, and every time I speak with you, I wish I had more time. But thank you for your time, Professor Christopher Piwuna.
Terry, you promised that you were going to give ASUU commendation if there is no strike. You were going to call us back, and I believe we have not gone on any strike since the last interview with you. And we want you to acknowledge the sacrifices of our members,
yeah, it's commendable.
Union, and our commitment.
I would need more details. I would need more
details
of why you haven't gone. Then I will commend you. I promise you that. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time on Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, I've been speaking with the President of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Professor Christopher Piwuna. If you'd like to catch this conversation and the previous one again, please go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm or simply go to channelstv.com. I am Terry Ikumi.